Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a good Saturday so far. I just wanted to come with a haul video as well as just some tips on the scan and cut. I'm actually participating in a swap that is being hosted by Betty, Scrap Passion 01. Hi Betty, if you're watching. So if you guys have a scan and cut, and I know some of you do, and are having maybe issues with it, because I got a question maybe it was yesterday about it. I have joined the group for the Gorgeous Girl Swap. I had in the beginning some issues, and I still do actually have issues with getting a clean image to be scanned. And I'm showing you this one because this one has this really thin line in it. You guys see this? This is one of the newer Gorgeous Girl stamps, and I'm sorry about the glare. But it's got that line that she's sitting on a wire basically. Or, you know, she's made to look like she's sitting on a wire. So I'll let you know that it cut this line for me. And I'll show you the cutout. But just a few tips. I know most of you are probably already know this. This is just some plain foam. A foam sheet, 8.5 by 11 that you can get at the Walmart, I even think you can. I stamped on this using my Memento Tuxedo Black ink. I have a Martha Stewart stamp block here with the little foam corners. These are the smaller than the Fiskars one. There's two sizes. There's this size and there's this size. My new Gorgeous Girl stamps don't fit on the smaller one, so I had to use the bigger stamp block. But obviously you can see it's got that little foam feet to keep it up above. So when you're stamping on your paper, you can just line it up. And I had actually stamped out 5 images because there's only supposed to be 4 to 5 people per group. So here's some of my stamped images. I stamped actually 4 sheets of this out so that if I screwed up, I'd have a backup. But also for later on, if I want to color one of these images up, I've already got it stamped out and I don't have to do that again. If it's one of those ones that I want to color. I have more, but so that's one of the tips. If you are, you know, sometimes it's nice to stamp ahead of time while you got the stamp out. Use some foam. If you haven't heard that before, use some foam to stamp on top of. When you place your paper down on top of this, use a good stamp block, even pressure. Obviously, with your coloring with Copics, you want to use the Tuxedo Black or Memento dye ink. Sorry, because you can use the brown or the desert sand if you want to do the no line coloring. So for the scan and cut, I will show you. I did cut those 5 figures out because it was on one sheet. It only took one. It did not require me to fiddle around at all with my machine. And I'll show you what I mean by that. I had those 5 images on the one sheet and I've cut it twice. Actually, I've cut it 4 times. Here is that Gorgeous Girl stamp. This one right here. Here she is. She's cut out, and it even cut the 2 birds on the wire. I actually wasn't planning on using the birds because I just wanted the stamp image, but this one I had happened to ink the whole thing and got both the birds and the line. So your scan and cut will cut that if you get a good impression. And I don't. I'm one of those people who doesn't prefer to have that extra halo around the stamp. I like it right on the line. I'm surprised that it even got that line because the first time I cut it, it didn't. But then again, I didn't have both birds either. I only had 1 bird. So it cut one of the birds out on my first pass. So I did go ahead and cut all 5 of the images, and here they are. All cut out and ready for me to color up. I'm trying to prep for that so I don't get behind because I have some other things I have to work on. So those are the 5 images. Now the other thing I was thinking about was my construction of my card, and I haven't decided whether I'm going to do a 3D card or not. And if I do a 3D card, when you're coloring with Copics, you're going to get bleed through, and that is normal. So for those of you who are beginner Copic colors, you're supposed to get the bleed through. And as you learn to color, you'll have less and less of that happening, or less color, you know, really going through the paper. And if you use good quality paper that you're supposed to use with Copics, and this is the Nina Solar White, paper. I actually have the Express It, but I actually prefer the Nina. It's just, you know, your personal preference on your coloring. So because I may be doing a 3-dimensional card where you're going to be able to see the back, and you're going to see the bleed through, I created a mask with my Scan and Cut. And all I did with the Scan and Cut was cut the images, pulled that sheet of paper off with all of these cutouts off, then put a white piece of paper, a plain white piece of paper on there, and recut it again. So it just cut the same shapes in the same position that they were on for the scan sheet. And now I have a matching image for each of the stamps here, so I can use it. And I actually put a little F on the front to signify that this is the front of the image, so that I know that this is the back. So here's the front of this image, and I think she goes with this one, right? So once I'm finished coloring and I want to put this down on the card, I now have a mask for the back, and you won't be able to see any of that color bleed because I'm going to stick the two together. The other advantage of having a mask is if you want to do background details around your stamped image, you can do that because I have a mask. And if I decide not to do a 3-dimensional card, that's what I'll use it for. I can always just take this now, I can lay this down and probably use like some, not permanent adhesive, but the adhesive that's temporary, to hold this down in place on top of the image, do my little technique around the stamped image, and then lift up the mask and you'll see the girl. So I have a double basically of this, and I've done this twice because sometimes when I'm coloring I'll mess it up and I won't like how the image turns out, and I will start again. So that's part of practicing, right? So that's what I have done for each of the girls that I have cut out. And you know, my Scan and Cut, again, here is that doubled up image of the birds on a wire, and obviously she goes with this one right here. So just a little tip for those of you who are wondering about, you know, is the Scan and Cut a good machine? Well, I still think it's a good machine. Some people get frustrated, I think, too, with how it cuts, but you know, be patient. It even cut the little hearts that are on some of the stamps. I you know, worked with it enough now to know what to do sometimes when it doesn't get a clean image. Another person had asked me about what happens if it won't even scan your image. There was a tip on the Scan and Cut, the Brother Scan and Cut YouTube channel that had, if you take a transparency and you take the transparency, put it over your stamp. Let me just show you. You would take your sheet, right, and you take a transparency, put it over this, and tape it down, and then use a Sharpie pen. And I don't think I have one here. Well, here's a Sharpie. I would recommend using the fat nib. This is one of the fine ones, but use something with a fat nib and just trace along the edge of your stamped image, and then scan it in with that still together. And then when you go to cut, remove the transparency before you cut the paper. So the transparency will help you basically outline your image, and it doesn't have to be exact, because remember, the Scan and Cut's going to get most of it, as long as it's darkened in. And I think that's where a lot of times you have some images that don't get really stamped very good, or they're so fine that it can't read that line. I know that happened to me in the beginning, but I'm getting better at, you know, doing that. So just a little tip for those of you who have the Scan and Cut and some stamping, you know, practice there. So this is basically what I wanted to show you for that. So these are the images I'll be using for Betty's swap. I've got them all cut out now in duplicate, so that, or actually I have 2 sets of masks and 2 sets of stamps to use, and some little tiny hearts, because I'm not going to use those. But here's my haul. It's from Wild Orchid Crafts. And Joyce Bolin, if you're watching, I didn't order any paper flowers, so don't get all excited. This was just because they had a sale, and so I decided I'd order some of the things that I don't have, or they've had out of stock, or I've been wanting to get and never have. So they did have a sale, and I'll try and give you the prices for each. These are the flower centers, resin flowers, and these are the cream. I think these are cream. I got them in cream and white, and I think I got a couple of packages of each. They're ivory rose cabochons, and so the 605 was $1.97, and my shipping was $8.81. That's coming from England. So that was not, I mean, here's the size of the box. It was $8.81. You can pay that much to ship your own priority mail to somebody in the United States. Here's my free gift. They gave me some of the yellow roses. And I think these are they're so cute. They're really tiny. I finally got my hands on some of these. These are the beaded flowers. And there's a pearl in the center. These are the ivory ones, and I also got them in the white. These go very quickly when they're in stock. Look, that's the back. So here's the cream and the white. There's 6 in a pack, and these were $3.29. Yep, $3.29. And then I finally got some of the stamens, little popcorn-looking stamens. Here's the number on that. MKX 470. The stamens were $2.24. That's why I only got one. They're expensive. These will probably get used quickly, I think, unless I hoard them, which I hope I don't do. I got some of these white flowers. They're little, I don't even know how to explain it. They're kind of clear on the top part, and then on the bottom you see that little detail here. That's the bottom, the reverse side. But there's a bling in the center, and you get 100 in one package. So these were $1.69. These were $5.27 for 100. So that should last me. I got some white pearl-headed stamens. $5.65. These were $1.25 for a package. And I do have stamens, but the ones that I got at Hobby Lobby were much larger, so I wanted something smaller than what I had. Wanted to try these out. And then I got some different colors of them. So I got them in the blue. And the blue ones were $1.25. And then I got some in the pink. And I think they were the same price. And then I got some of these mint colored, or aqua green is what they're called. So I wanted to try those out. I didn't get doubles of those, knowing that I didn't know if I'd like them or not. So I got some black ones too. And some silver ones. Here we go. And then the last thing I got were these white ones. These are just like those ivory ones I showed you. Resin flowers. So that's what I got in my order. Nothing major. Told you it was a small haul. And I will be back with a Happy Mail share that I got in today from a fellow YouTuber. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Bye-bye now.